Greetings Earthlings and welcome back to my channel. Today is our next to the last day in Louisiana, and today we're doing a airboat tour from McGee's Swamp Tours in Hendricks, Louisiana. So we're going to take you along for the ride. It'll be a nice airboat trip. So we're just waiting for everybody to get together and then we'll board the airboat and see what we can see. So y'all come along with us.
Kind of spooky out here, y'all. All right, let's start off with where everyone's from. Where y'all from? Front seat?
Virginia.
Virginia. What's that, man?
Virginia.
Virginia. Second back seat.
Philadelphia.
From Philly.
Philly?
I'm from Baton Rouge.
Okay, Baton Rouge. And you guys in the back?
From Switzerland.
Winners.
All right, yo. All right, well, welcome to the Atchafalaya Basin. And welcome to the bald cypress forest. All the trees we see here today are bald cypress. They're Louisiana state tree. They're protected. No one's supposed to cut them down. No one's supposed to harvest them. Does the human listen? No problem with the world. The early settlers began harvesting the cypress in this area in 1886. They were harvested all the way to 1961. This lumber helped build half of the United States, yo. Termite free, rot free. These trees would get anywhere from 120 to 150 feet tall. They also would get as big as 120 to 150 feet tall with a 6 to 8 foot circumference. But it took them 650 to 800 years to get that size. All the trees we see here today are estimated to be anywhere from 65 to about 145 years old. All the trees we see, this is the new growth. All the older ones have been harvested, y'all. All the trees we see here today are estimated to be anywhere from 65 to about 145 years old. So hopefully in 500 years or so, they will become as large as they used to. Unfortunately, the cypress will not grow back in this area, the new growth. We have to protect what we have. Thanks to the federal government and the Corps of Engineers. Before the tree could get a good root system established and get tall enough, the water rises and kills them off. Just imagine, 3.5 weeks ago, see the water line in the trees?
Yeah.
That's where the water was 3.5 weeks ago. It's gone down almost 4 feet in the past 3.5 months. All the Spanish moss we see hanging. Well, just imagine being in the logging industry back in the 1900s. These guys that cut the trees here knew nothing of a chainsaw. Everything here was cut down with an axe and a Passepartout 2. Passepartout 2 is a 2-man bow saw. Just imagine push and pull all day. And all the unsafe acts that were performed by these guys without out here, y'all. Trick question for y'all. These guys felled this humongous tree. They cut all the limbs off of it. They cut the top off of it. Once they fell it, you got about 90 feet of log. We got about 3.5 foot of water under us now. It takes 10 feet of water to float these trees. These guys knew nothing of a gasoline-powered engine or diesel-powered engine. How you think they got the large trees out of the shallow waters in a timely manner, y'all?
Not easily.
Levees.
No, my friend. Well, back in the day, what helped build America, y'all? What was the main source of power back then?
Horse.
Well, the horse, the donkey, the ox worked great on shore. Here, your horse would have to have legs about that tall. You might even need a giraffe. You got about 2.5, 3 foot of water, 8 foot of mud. Next source of power that helped build America, y'all. What powered the first train?
Coal.
Steam.
Steam.
Coal don't power the thing. Steam powered the chain.
Yeah.
But coal and wood heats the water and makes steam. Then you got power. Because the first train was powered by steam. Every factory in America was powered with steam, y'all. All right. But they designed boats with big, large, steam-powered winches. They would winch the trees out of the shallow waters. Once they got it to the deep water, they built a raft. Then they could raft 800 to 1,000 logs to the mill at a time. Steam power. We got a big money thing in Louisiana. This thing is over 200 years old, y'all. It operates on steam. What y'all think runs on steam for about 125 days in Louisiana, y'all? Big money. sugar mills.
Lord, yeah. Makes sense.
They start off with natural gas. They get the boilers going. They get the grinders going. They start grinding on this sugar cane stalk. They gets all the juices out the stalk of the sugar cane. Then you got a byproduct, bagasse. Once you get enough of the bagasse, you put this in the furnace. Turn the natural gas off. What happens to the profits then?
Goes up.
Now we're making money. See how very powerful and everything. 200 years old industry, y'all. The Spanish moss you see hanging in the trees. This was used by the early settlers in this area. Henry Ford used the Spanish moss in the first car that he ever built. What he used Spanish moss for to build a car, y'all?
Seat cushions.
That's right.
Seat cushion, yeah.
Upholstery, seat cushions. He also had a seat cum, because when he would ship this Spanish moss to him, they would ship it to him in cypress crates. Once they took the moss out the cypress crates, they used the cypress to finish building the vehicle. Because all the running boards used to be out of the ball cypress. Also, the back of the trucks was the ball cypress. The dashboard, because he had no sheet metals like we have today, y'all. He also used this Spanish moss and took it to a whole new level. When they used to stuff the mattress and the pillows with it. Just imagine how many spiders and red bugs they slept with. But we had some medicine, a little bottle of jar of medicine that would take care of different things like red bugs around the thing. Came in a little green glass bottle about this big. Anyone could tell me the name of this little bottle of medicine?
The Curachrome.
No.
Turpentine.
No. Camphor. Camphor-phenique. Come from the camphor tree. We also had another nice little bottle of medicine. Came in a little red bottle jar about big like my thumb for an open wound. It would burn like fire whenever you put it on you.
That's mercurochrome.
No.
Really? Iodine?
No, it was
Alcohol.
no, it wasn't the alcohol. It was oh man, what's wrong with him? My mom.
Tiger Balm.
Its nickname was Monkey Blood.
Oh yeah.
Make you dance medicine.
Put that on us in grade school. Yeah.
Y'all got that. I don't know, y'all. My mind's going blank early today. But it was came in a little red bottle. Mercurochrome, not mercurochrome.
Tiger Balm.
Iodine.
No, it's I forgot the name, y'all.
Will this boat capsize?
I don't think so.
You starting trouble.
Yeah, that's what she does.
It's a 25-foot boat. It's very, very stable.
Okay, good.
But so you're gonna be surprised when I continue talking, though. All right, y'all. But they use this moss. They also use the moss for Ooh, man, my mind's going blank, y'all.
Clouds in the sky.
We better stop and get you some boudin on the way out of here.
Something, y'all. Usually, man, I'm rolling with everything and just something just. But he used it. Back today, we have all kind of things to for cool weather, y'all. They used to take this moss and mixed it with a mud clay compound and packed it in the walls for insulation, y'all.
Yeah.
They didn't know anything about the nice
the R30 and fiberglass.
and all of that. All right. Let's talk about the largest river basin in North America. From the levee here in Henderson to the levee across the basin. It's 25 miles across. It's 175 miles long. We get water here as far north as the Ohio Valley. We also get water out of Canada for 4 provinces. One of the main tributaries is the mighty Mississippi River. When this river reaches flood stage, threatening New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Simsport, and many, many other places along the river, they have to divert the water. They pass it through the Atchafalaya Basin. The Morgans and the Bonnie Carey Spillway are the 2 main locks. When these locks are open to full capacity, water can rise 1.5 to 2 feet a day here for 1.4 million acres. About 3.5 weeks ago, see the water levels in the trees? Well, that's where the water was about 3.5 weeks ago, y'all. The water has receded of almost 4 feet in the past 3.5 weeks. This water this water can go for 1.4 million acres, goes from a 2.6 river stage to a 20-foot river stage. This water lifts over 18 feet for 1.4 million acres each year. Wow. This water is receding right now. As we went through August, starting in August of 2024, the water was right here. As the water was receding, the third week water got at the end of the water it went down. And we got back to 11-foot river stage. The fishing became phenomenal here. The largemouth bass, the crappie, the chickapin, the bull brim, the goggle eye, and let me not forget about the catfish. Then my job became very hectic because everyone with a fishing pole and a fishing pole, guess where they were at, y'all? Here. Look how it's peace and quiet. Third week of August, 2024, pull up to my spot here, 35 boats parked in here.
Oh my goodness.
The minute I stopped the engine to talk to my guests, all these guys start fussing at me, want to know why did I come back here with this loud airboat. Well, I hollered back at them and said, Bubba, where you been for the last 11 months or so? It's been my spot here 4 to 5 times a day, 12 months out the year. They tell me no one has a spot here. Well, when I crank this bad boy up and I make about 20 circles in here and I get the water good and muddy, when I come back about an hour or so later, ain't nobody fishing in my mud hole. Can't we share 1.4 million acres, please? Come through them trees pretty good right there, y'all.
Yeah.
Well, when you traveled in the same route and you jump those stumps out here 2 or 3 times, you kind of remember where these stumps are. It gets stuck in the GPS. Well, when the sport fishermen block my trail and we have to alter the route, there's always a possibility we jump a stump. When this happens, my guess is Heine misses their seat by 5 to 8 inches. When their Heine slaps the seat back, they tend to turn around and look at me back there with some evil looking eyes. With this being said, y'all have been warned about the jumping the stump. Like I said, August, this water began to recede. As it's receding, we got to the end of September. As far as your eye could see, it went bone dry here of 2024. I'm going to show y'all a little video of what it looked like at the beginning of December back here. I was able to come back where we just passed through them trees. This is what it looked like, yo. We just passed. That's what it looked like at the beginning of December.
Let's go.
So about how deep was that water?
About 3 inches of water.
Wow.
Well, we're going to leave from here and I'm going to go this way. It looked like this at the beginning of December.
The ditch.
Wow.
Well, we're going to pass right here as we go that way. That's what it looked like.
So it's sweet water, huh? Only sweet water, no salt water.
A lot of salt.
I love the
Oh.
episode. Uh-huh.
We're gonna talk all about that in a minute.
Okay.
All right, well, this water, it dried up. December, we got a bunch of cold weather came in, a lot of rain, so this water rose a little. About 4 months ago, Mother Nature sent a catastrophic weather event in Tennessee. Who Mother Nature sent and visit Tennessee, y'all?
The hurricane.
Hurricane Helena. Well, it ruptured 4 dams. 146 people lost their lives because of those dams that ruptured. Well, 2.5 weeks later, this water rose about 3 feet here. Tennessee, well, they got some more water and more weather event. This about 2 weeks out later, this water rose again about 3.5 feet. That's when we got to a 16-foot river stage here, y'all. This water started. Mother Nature hasn't caused any more catastrophic rains and stuff, so the water's been going down. We need this water to go down because we get water as far north as the Ohio Valley. We also get water out of Canada for 4 provinces. This water needs to go down because none of the snow and none of the ice begin to melt yet. One of the main tributaries is the mighty Mississippi River. When the Mississippi River gets to flood stage, threatening New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Simmsport, and many towns along the Mississippi, they have to divert water. So they pass it through the Atchafalaya Basin. If they couldn't divert all of this water, where do y'all think Baton Rouge and New Orleans would end up?
Underwater.
Half of it floating in the Gulf of Mexico.
Gulf of America now.
Mexico. I will never go with the America. That's Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
We've done changed too many things lately. That's just like from Fort Polk. Now it's Fort whatever. Yeah. Jack Jones, whatever. They're changing too many things, y'all. And they're getting rid of all our statues and different things. That's history, man. It's pathetic. But if they couldn't divert all of that, Baton Rouge and New Orleans would be underwater, yo. The Morgans and the Bonnie Carrot, like I say, the 2 main locks. When the locks are open to full capacity, water can rise 1.5 to 2 feet a day here for 1.4 million acres. The Atchafalaya Basin is almost the size of the state of Delaware. In a 12-month period, we'll go from a 2.6 river stage to a 20-foot river stage. This water fluctuates over 18 feet for 1.4 million acres each year. Let's talk about when the levee started. The federal government, the Corps of Engineers, began building the levee system back in 1886. By 1927, Mother Nature showed them the levees they built wasn't enough. This water rose back then. It ruptured this levee. Water went over 60 miles inland. Many lost their lives. Since the Great Flood of 1927, the Corps and the federal government has heightened and widened the levee in many, many phases. They ensure us of a 20-foot river stage. 20 foot of water is in the parking lot where y'all parked your vehicle today. We were at a 16-foot river stage 3.5 weeks ago. 4 feet, it would have been in the parking lot. Well, the water's going down. It's receded about 4 feet so far. But within the next 3 weeks to a month, we're going to start getting the snow, the melt, the ice, and everything is coming south. This water's going to rise. Since the Great Flood of 1927, they have heightened and widened the bridge, the levee. This levee was tested again in the spring of 1973. In 1973, this water continued to rise. It crested at 27.8. The top of the levee is 30 foot. Almost topped that levee. If the levee would have gave way in the spring of 73, might have flooded 95 miles inland. We're in 2025. A lot has changed, y'all. This water used to come south and pass over an area this wide. Water level would come up this much. Well, thanks to the federal government, the Corps of Engineers, for altering the landscape, manipulating Mother Nature by putting dams, locks, levees, reservoirs in each one of the tributaries to accommodate who, y'all?
Us.
Humans trying to make more land. Well, this water used to come south. 100 years ago, pass over an area this wide, water level would come up this much. Today, they're trying to pass the water through this wide and bring the water levels up to here. All these structures they're putting in place are anywhere from 75 to 150 years old. Have they been maintained correctly?
Most likely not.
Well, we're fixing to get the water this spring, yo. This water's going to continue to rise. Let's say Mother Nature decides to give a catastrophic weather event in the Ohio Valley or in the Tennessee Valley. Sends this water this way too much. Ruptures this levee, present day, with the height and the width we have, possibly flooding 120 to 150 miles inland. It's almost to Houston, yo. Goes the other way, might go to Alabama. Take out Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Mississippi. Something to think about, huh? Not saying it's gonna happen, but there's always a possibility, yo. Mother Nature's the boss. You keep manipulating her, she's gonna show you who's the boss. When we depart from here, we head towards I-10, the Basin Bridge. This bridge is 18.2 miles across the basin. Third longest bridge across open water in Louisiana. Only 2 exits in 18.2 miles. Happen to cross the bridge, I suggest pack a water or 2, pack a snack. Because if there's an accident, you may be stuck up there anywhere from 6 to 12 hours. Last summer, 6 o'clock in the morning, 18-wheeler accident. Not a vehicle moved eastbound for over 12 hours. By noon, the heat index reached 113. It happened so early in the morning, most of us like a little morning cup of coffee or a morning latte. Well, just imagine stuck on the bridge an hour after your cup of coffee or your latte and you get bubble gut. Gotta go. Unfortunately, many moons were shown that day on the bridge. Well, it was a logistics nightmare to build this bridge. How we get concrete across a swamp? Well, early in 1969, they built a cement plant on the other side of Lake Pontchartrain, near New Orleans. They poured large sections of the highway. Once it was cured, took the jig off of it, stockpiled sections of the highway. Started this in 1969. By 1971, the beginning of 71, they began barging the components to the bridge because they built it like a puzzle then. Well, took a tug pushing a barge load of components 4 days to get to the job site. 230 miles by water, 3 sets of locks. Elevated twice, lowered once. Got to the job site with the first components, which are the pylons. Pylons are 168 feet long. They had to be driven through a little over 98 feet of mud and muck before they got to the right sand foundation. Started putting the puzzle together at the early 71. What year do y'all think this bridge opened for the public?
84.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
84.
1973.
Oh,
wow.
Get the hell out of here.
2 years. They went 18.2 miles across the swamp, yo.
Oh.
What's the problem with DOT and all them rascals today, yo?
Bureaucrats.
Huh? They got degrees and everything. They've been to college. They got paperwork for days. But it takes them 10 years to go from right here to that tree over there. Because they became a bunch of crooks, motor mouths. They can talk the talk, but they can't walk the walk. But it's amazing how Buc-ee's or Love's truck stop, amazing how they can build something in about 6 to 8 months. But yet our highways takes forever, yo. They know how to rob the system. All right, pass y'all into I-10. Back in the early 90s, about 6 to 8,000 cars across this bridge a day. We still had the train. Train had a lot of cargo. Moved a lot of passengers, moved a lot of things. Without the train, well over 125 cars crossed this bridge a day. Made it one of the most dangerous bridges we got, yo. Unfortunately, always an accident, always a fatality. In order to make it a safer passage, they reduced the speed limit to 60 miles an hour on the bridge for the public, 55 for the semi. Y'all happen to travel across the bridge, I suggest do the 60. Got the new camera now. If you're speeding and you get up to the 60 mile an hour sign and it comes up to slow down, it's it's unconstitutional for you to send me a ticket in the mail when you can't prove it was me driving the vehicle. Well, when the deputy stops you at the end of the bridge, he got a picture of you. everybody that stays on this dock right here, yo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hard to find good employees these days, man.
It's going.
Well, they left his caulking gun too.
Oh yeah.
Body around.
It's at lunch.
Yeah. Is that lunch? Don't you go under. Straight ahead, yo.
Yeah, see. This slowly disappeared.
Oh, you see, bad employee, man. Supposed to stay on top. See how they sluggish and they want to hide these days, yo? Normally they come meet us at the edge of the boat. Being shy. There's another one straight ahead of us. Now they want to die.
All right, welcome back, y'all. We had a pretty adventurous time yesterday. Our airboat swamp tour adventure. Today, I wanted to take time to show you one last thing before we leave Louisiana tomorrow. So, this that we're looking over right now is, I guess for lack of a better terms, a crawfish farm. And you see the little things sticking up out of the water. Those are crawfish traps. And there are many of those type of farms in the area of Eunice. If you look across the water over there, you see the little white sunroof. That is the crawfish farmer harvesting today's catch. Can't really get any closer to give you a better look because we're looking at, there's a big old ditch here, and there's a lot of reptiles in Louisiana, and I don't want to meet any of them up close and personal. So, but I did want to take the time to come over and show you this thing and see. We passed, I don't know, thousands of acres of this type deal on a much grander scale yesterday on the way to Henderson. But it's pretty interesting. So the guys out there, they'll ride along and they'll pick up the first trap, and the boat is kind of maintains a steady speed, and they work to maintain the course from one pot to the next. We'll pick up the first pot and empty that one, and then put new bait in it. And just about the time he does all that, he'll get to the second pot where he'll pull that pot and put the one that he just baited back in its place. And he'll do that all the way down the line. It'll take them several hours to do this small field out here, and there's 2 vessels out there currently harvesting. So you can see there's one over here to my right, and another one directly out in front of me a little farther. And they're both, you can see the speed that they're maintaining. They are really hard at work collecting those doggone mud bugs. So any rate, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you got a little enjoyment out of it anyway. We sure had a blast on the airboat, and this is quite interesting, so I didn't want to close out the video without including this little bit. This is actually directly across the highway from the campground, so I just walked over here. So, and as you can see, it's a pretty busy highway. But at any rate, if you did enjoy this video, hit that like and subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and follow us along on the rest of our full-time adventure. I think our next stop is in Marshall, Texas tomorrow, so look forward to that. And we'll see y'all then. And remember, when camping, take only photos and leave only footprints. Y'all travel safe. We'll see you soon.